launching it. Okay. All right. We're live. Welcome back, everyone, to Odys Talks. Naturally, this show is hosted and brought to you by Odys Global, your one-stop marketplace for age domains, websites, premium names, and a number of additional services, including EEAT audit, topic clusters, 301 redirects, and fully managed website hosting. I'm your host, Vlad, or as some Brits refer to as Vlad the Lad, so you can call me that as well. Today I'm joined by James Dooley and Julia McCoy. I'll let them introduce themselves in a minute. Sadly, Chase Woodhams wasn't able to make it due to health conditions, so hopefully we'll be able to get him on the show sometime soon down the road. All right, guys. Go on and introduce yourselves. James, you've been here a couple of times already, so let's give the honors to Julia and do it first.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be here. So I'm Julia McCoy. I'm the president at ContentAtScale, but I come from a background of 10 years of SEO content writing. So that's been my jam. I had a writing agency I started back when I was 19 years old, actually, and grew it to around 100 people and sold it in 2021. So it's been quite the journey. And along that way, I've written 9 books, but this is the year of AI. So was last year. So I made a complete pivot in January of 2023. And I pitched ContentAtScale, which was the human-like SEO writer that I thought would replace me. I could send my clients to it and say, you're going to get content as good as my high-ticket services. So when I saw that, the writing was on the wall. I couldn't sell my clients high-ticket human content anymore. So I completely pivoted, and now I work 100% in AI and have for a year.
Awesome. Thank you. James, when did you pivot to becoming an Odys office cleaner?
So I clean all the offices at Odys. Well, so I give up using AI because I was sick of it and give up using SEO. So I decided to go to be office cleaner.
I was wondering about your title. I'm like, we're going to hear about this. Okay, good.
Yeah, but seriously, just for those who don't know who James Dooley is, like a short, concise intro.
Yeah, so I've been in SEO 15 years. We've scaled out over 800 different rank and rent websites that we own 100% ourselves. We rank them and then obviously rent them out. We do quite a lot of affiliate. Had a few sites hit with the helpful content update in September and stuff like that, but we've got our own in-house R&D testing team, which has stood us in good stead over the years, and I'm sure we'll be able to recover some of those. But the lead generation sites going great. There actually is half a dozen affiliate sites absolutely crushing it as well, but we've got a nice mix of some penalized sites, some flying sites, and then a lot of lead generation sites as well and stuff like that. I own quite a lot of different services, whether it's like a link building service or content service or social media, paid ads and stuff like that. I do quite a lot of investments, and yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Perfect. All right, let's kick things off.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I'm really was and still am really excited about this conversation of ours because, well, I've invited Julia like a month or 2 ago to the show, and Chase was on the board as well, and I was wondering, like, I need one of the Odys mentors. We'll get to that in the panel as well. So I've been thinking about that, and then I noticed this Facebook thread where you, James, wrote about AIO. That sounds funny when I pronounce it. AI optimization, and Julia commented on that post. So I thought, that's interesting. So yeah, like you said, Julia, everyone's pivoting towards AI these days. The very first episode we did last year, very first episode of Odys Talks we did last year, was with well, one of the participants was the Odys founder Alex Drew, and he said something along the lines that, yeah, well, been looking into AI, don't think it's going to be like a big thing, probably a tool. Well, today his perspective has changed big time.
Good.
He's like, we're going to implement AI like as deeply as possible in all of our work and processes. So yeah, this is something absolutely natural. If you want to survive in today's business landscape, you need to adapt and pivot. So let's get straight to business. AI optimization. You guys have two pretty much different views on this concept. So I would like to hear your particular thoughts on that, like both of your views.
Do you want to start, Julia, or do you want me to start?
I can go first. I think, Vlad, they're actually pretty similar. I think there's a different perspective, but I think like our meaning is very, very similar in my opinion. So last January, when I started at ContentAtScale, I pretty much coined this term AIO, and it was about a little over a year ago. And the reason for it wasn't like, oh, I want to create some cool new term. I want to get known for it on the internet. The reason was that I was encountering thousands of writers in my work at ContentAtScale that didn't know how to adapt. And they were like, what is the path forward? What do I do? So I'm somebody that back in 2017, I helped define practical content strategy. There was a very corporate definition out in the market. So I wrote a 400-page textbook that has been used in colleges. So it's just my natural go-to as a writer and somebody that likes to critically think, like, let me go define this for you. So it made sense to me to coin an actual term for that whole market because I was a writer. I'd started as a freelance writer and I had a lot of sympathy for those people. So I'm like, yeah, there is a new path and it's not human writing anymore. That's dead. If you're doing that, you're in the Stone Age. Sorry to tell you. So this idea of AIO is to help writers know that SEO content, really almost any kind of content, because you can apply AIO to anything, is you sit down at the computer, maybe soon it'll look different. Maybe you're wearing a headset, who knows? And you start with AI. You don't start with your human fingers. You don't start with your human brain. You start with AI because the process is dramatically faster. And then the O is whenever you as the human come in and optimize it and get it ready for publishing. And so with that, I built a framework called Craft that's been used by tons of writers. I've taught it on big stages. And the idea is to cut the fluff, review the content, add images, visuals, and media, fact check, and then trust build. So very easy acronym. And it's also like this idea of you have a new craft. So it's not just an acronym, it's a way to get you thinking differently. But that was how I defined it. And it's definitely taken off. I've seen LinkedIn copywriters have it in their headline where they're like, I'm the AIO copywriter now, which is really cool. So I'm like, yes, please use it. So when I saw James defining it, I was like, ooh, I rank #1 for what is an AIO writer. And then I went and saw what James wrote, and it's pretty good stuff. So I'll hand it to you, James, to share your definition.
So mine is slightly different to yours, Julia, to be fair. Like, first and foremost, when I first did the article, I didn't have a clue about that you coined the phrase of AIO. And then when I started to look into it, I'm like, actually, yeah, your definition is a great definition. Obviously, you're getting the AI to content, then you're optimizing it, and then you like human edited AI content, fact checking it and stuff like that. What some of that article was about was regarding if you do content, like what your brand is called, content at scale. If you do a lot of content and you share it on the internet, you can start to, in time, it takes a while to do. The data sets and the large language models need to be updated, but you can start to determine what the output of the AI kind of spits out. So when you ask ChatGPT a certain question or ask Google Gemini a question, with regards to it's where they are training their models, the AI are training their models on, that you could get the AI to start saying who is the best X, Y, and Z. And if you give it enough information, then the AI itself, whether it's ChatGPT, OpenAI, Google Gemini, like I said, whichever one that it is, the AI, what they kind of output from the large language models is very different than what initially it was 12 months ago. So it was trying to play with that en masse, and just trying certain techniques with what you can do with with Google Bard and Google Gemini. If you typed in certain terms like who is the godfather of SEO, then Google Bard would say James Dooley is the godfather of SEO. However, Danny Sullivan, Bruce Clay, and a few others. Now, I should not.
James, I'm the godfather of
Yeah.
You're the godmother.
I should not be in that list. And it was just, I mean, it's an obsolete, it's a nothing kind of question to ask. But it was just trying to say, how could you get certain brands or names to then the AI to say this information out as part of their answer? Because you've got to think about it. Exactly what you're talking about now, Julia, is that if you're using the AI to write, let's say, 80% of your content, and obviously AI, yes, it can 10x the output. So it eliminates kind of that writer's block, not knowing what to say. The AI can write 80% of or can write all the content. You go in, you fact check it, you might rewrite certain sentences, you might add certain entities and semantic triples into the content to make it better SEO optimized, and then send it off to the client. Imagine if I could feed that AI, that the output of what the AI was giving of your 80% was feeding in a certain way of saying, okay, so if you said who's the best SEO agencies, let's say who's the best AI content business. Obviously, you would want ContentAtScale to be number one. If I wanted to try to get a few of my brands in that list, and I could feed the AI's output to get that in the brands, well, if everyone at the moment's using AI to write content, everyone then at that point is going to be mentioning my brands. And I've done it now on a dozen different brands of what we own, and it's worked successfully. So my initial terminology was to try and get content out there to feed the data sets for the large language models for that output. And then when I seen yours, I was like, oh, I think I've just coined a phrase that someone's already coined a phrase on. And then I seen yours, and to be fair, yours is a great model, and yeah, it would, obviously with what you do very successfully, so it's good.
Well, we got to get you using ContentAtScale.
Yes.
At least let me demo it for you.
Demo it. I'm all ears I'll get my team in certain to try that out for sure.
I think your definition is awesome. You know, I think it's a way of engineering, which is what we all have to be doing with AI. Like, how do we engineer? How do we optimize? How do we manipulate? How do we just work with this to have the best kind of outcome for us, our brands, and our clients? So I think your definition, you've done something really innovative there with how you're looking at how can I change all of this to put a business I want mentioned in the LLM. So I think that's very cool.
So I've got some questions for you, Julia, then. Right?
Yeah.
So
You're my guest.
You're a very, very successful writer. Was it a difficult jump for you to jump from initially writing the content to using AI and editing the content? Was that difficult for you? I'm on about you personally. Was that difficult? Because I tell you what, I've got issues with certain writers that do not want to use AI. And I'm trying to say AI is there to supercharge you, not to replace you. So from you personally, was there a few weeks going back and forth in your own head of being, is this good? Is it bad? Is it going to replace me? Is it going to supercharge me? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I definitely identify as not just a writer, but also an entrepreneur. So I think that has helped me look at this correctly, because there are a lot of writers, just like you said, they're kind of in this fixed mindset, and a lot of them have the same background. They come from journalism. They were highly trained. Some of them have master's degrees, and God forbid you introduce something that could completely change their process. But not me. If I see something that is going to save me tons of time, bring me to my outcome 10 times faster and at maybe 9 times less cost, then you bet I will change my entire process around it. I have no problem whatsoever. But I was anti-AI when ChatGPT came out, and you could have found me on stage in December. And I was like, human writers, are the only way to go. AI is terrible. Never use AI. And everyone behind me on that same panel was pro AI. So it was interesting. And then 30 days later, I was at the same event because I was invited back to speak. And I was literally saying the opposite. I was up there going, human writers are garbage. AIO is the way to go.
So what made you take that? I mean, obviously, so let's say you was against it. Why was you initially against it? And then what made you turn to be, actually, this is good? Was it an update from GPT 3.5 or like what was the turning kind of cycle for yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I found ChatGPT and I put it into my process, I'm like, okay, let me see if this can actually write the kind of content I sell for thousands of dollars. And it couldn't. In fact, like it created more work because it wasn't research backed. It was a static output. I couldn't edit any of it. And the content it generated was so superficial. It was like, I wouldn't even put it in the bar of good. Now, granted, it's gotten a lot better with GPT iterations coming out, but what changed my mind in January was I found ContentAtScale. And what that tool is, it's a stack of 3 different LLMs, and it's got an editor in that. So it's actually pulling from multiple large language models, generating content, and then editing that content down. So you can train it to write in your voice. And whenever you look at the Content Hacker blog, for example, that's all content at scale. And I've barely written a word. And it sounds and reads just like me. Nobody can tell the difference. I get Instagram DMs from people that are like, oh, I read your blog. I love it, Julia. You're the best. And I'm like, thank you. But I literally found something that I could replace myself with. And so whenever I found ContentAtScale when I was watching YouTube videos for AI writers, and I saw it, like it was Adam Onfroy. He showed it on his YouTube video and I was looking at it going, whoa, this is my entire workflow. So I jumped over to the website, tested it out. And sure enough, like I feel like that group of people, and it really comes back to the founder, Justin McGill, he cracked the code of something that didn't exist. It didn't exist with that single LLM, ChatGPT, and it didn't exist in any other tool, even though a lot of tools are marketed very well, but really they're just like a API call. So this one was really something different. And then besides the 3 LLMs, it had this SEO tool suite that has since gotten a lot better, where it actually scores the content. It pulls in NLP, it's looking at salience, and it's giving you the score of all of that. And it's giving you the roadmap to get that content up to 100% ready to rank. So it's like a little checklist you follow. And I can't tell you, like, getting a writer to understand the world of SEO is so freaking hard. And I'm sure you've seen it, James, where it's like this writer is like, but I like to write stories. I like to write analogies. I have a certain flow. And you're like, but the keyword. And so when you have a tool like ContentAtScale and it's giving that writer a checklist of what to follow, and the checklist literally turns green when they've met the salient scores, I mean, that alone is a game changer too. So that's what changed my mind. Was I literally found a real solution in ContentAtScale, and ChatGPT was just not a solution. I was using it for things like email titles, and that was it. But long form content, I would say it was adding hours to my process. But then ContentAtScale, whenever I actually put it to the test, and I'm like, okay, this week's blogs are going to be written with ContentAtScale. Let's go. And I counted the time savings, and it was 7 hours out of an 8-hour blog writing process, because that's how long it took me to write a 3,000 to 4,000 word piece that ranked in the top of Google. So I gave it to my writer. She was a writer of 10 years, same experience. Oh, I'm saving 7 out of 8 hours. And I was surprised because I thought she would be the snobby writer. And no, she just saves me tons of time. I love it. I'm out exploring France sooner. She's a nomad, so she was in France. So I mean, when you show the writers the possibilities and you equip them and you tell them, here's the right tool to use, I think that's when you kind of take out the fear of, well, I kind of hate ChatGPT, because I do too. A single LLM is like the alphabet, and you can't do that much with the alphabet, but you can do a lot with a set of good words. So that's kind of how my journey evolved into completely hating AI to I love it now and I work in it.
What's your thoughts on AI content checkers? Do you think
Yeah,
obsolete?
well, you know,
Or
we have one of the top ones
yeah.
on the scale. So we rank number 3, I think, for AI detector. So your question is, what are your thoughts on that process?
Do you think that you like, obviously there's a lot of, I've got a lot of examples online where a content could be written that is human written, and it says it's 100% AI written, and I've got loads of AI written content that says that it's 100% human written, even though it was 100% AI written. Do you think that the AI kind of detection matters in Google kind of rankings? Like, because I'm seeing both of them. Like I'm looking at certain stuff, and you're loading in the top 10 results, and number 1 result says it's all AI written, number 2 result says it's all human written, number 3 result says, and like you're loading through. I'm saying, I know you've got the AI detection tool. Do you think that it matters? Do you think, or what's your thought process on that?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think that if we look at like, what is AI detection? How did it come about? So it was a keyword with 0 searches, and now it's a keyword in 12 months that has over 4 million searches per month. So I think what we're seeing with AI detection, I hate to say this because we built a tool for it and it's a great tool, but I do think we're in the middle of a trend. And I think that trend will go away as GPT iterates, gets better and better, as tools like ContentAtScale that are built on the backs of multiple of these, and they figured out like undetectable content or human-like content or perfect emails. We're seeing that with Gemini Ultra, like perfectly written emails. So as these models get better and better, I don't think you're going to even need to detect if this is AI or not. And the reason for that term, which I mean, we're capitalizing on, is we're getting 400,000 uniques a month on those keyword variations. So what we're seeing right now with it is it's the result, I think, of a lot of fear. So a lot of employers, a lot of educational institutions, they are requiring their users, their students, their clients, their team members, like employers to hire writers, they're requiring those people to go use AI detectors because you better make sure your content doesn't read like a robot. And so there's like this fear and this misconception that I can't use AI because it makes me look bad on the internet. We saw that like Sports Illustrated, they fired a board member because the board member allowed robotic content to go out on the cover of the magazine, yada, yada, like who cares? But in the end, it's like, so I don't think that trend will last forever as the knowledge of, oh, this is our new way forward, as that knowledge grows, because it is. Like, there's no denying it. AI is how we're going to open our computers and start everything pretty soon, whether it's a SEO process or writing, you name it, because AI is just getting better and better. And it's a multiplication matter now that we've got compute power with chips. So you throw that compute power at it, it's going to get better and better. AI detection probably won't be a thing. And I wish our AI director, Jeff Joyce, was here. Everyone in our company sounds like a bot. I wish he was here because he had such strong opinions and he's helped build this thing. But he's like, my strong opinions are this won't last and AI detection won't be a thing in maybe 8 or 12 months. But, you know, by then, ContentAtScale will have a new free tool that's better than anyone else. I'm just kidding. So that's my thoughts. Yeah, I don't think AI detection will really matter in the long run. But right now it does, just because these LMs are not human-like yet. So it does still somewhat matter.
Do you change your output to make certain that it comes back as being that it's not detectable for AI?
Correct. Yes. So we were one of the first to launch an undetectable AI writer that actually passed like the majority, whether it was originality, GPT-0. So it passed the majority of all of those detectors. So we were one of the first to like crack that code. And then I think Surfer was next about 9 months later. So yeah, that was a specific purpose behind our software, is it's got to be undetectable. And that's where the 3 different LLMs come in to kind of work against each other, and then grammatical checking to really make sure that content is so human-like you would never guess. And I've like put 2 blog hooks side by side in my talks, and I've had my audience guess which one was AI, which one was human. They can never guess. That's how good the undetectable content is. Like, it reads just like as if I wrote it. You won't ever tell. It's crazy.
When you're saying how you wrote it, have you got to feed it in previous articles of what you've done for like your tone of voice to say, this is Julia, this is my content. I want you now to use that tone of voice for X, Y, Z moving forward.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, that's called AI training inside of the project settings. And you just select custom tone of voice, and then you go in there and you load it with blog hooks. And then under the blog hooks, you load it with like 3 or 4. And then under those, you can put H2 content, H3 content. So you can go as long as you want. And you're just training it on that style. And for me, like the opener of a blog is one of the most important things to get people to keep reading. So you want like a specific formula. I use the copywriting formula: pass, problem, agitate, solution. And so I've trained ContentAtScale to follow that formula every single time. So it's like, are you wondering how to groom your Labradoodle without hurting your poor animal? Yada, yada, yada. And then it's solving it with the blog and the solution around grooming that dog. So it's following that to a T every time.
What, so you're literally asking in the prompts for it to go through that, like, agitate the problem, then come up with the solution, and then obviously it can feed it through.
You don't even have to ask it. So it was built in a way where these LLMs are trained against specific copywriting formulas. So we call it, like, we don't really say this in the SEO groups that Vlad, you found us in, but we call it like a prompt free or
I found you on our Twitter.
And then you saw the Facebook drama. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we call it like a prompt free AI writer, because that also, like, I've trained teams of writers at like Dell, like large marketing communications teams, and they're just like, I don't know how to prompt. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell it. So our team at ContentAtScale has added that into the LLMs where you don't even have to prompt it. It's following specific formulas to get that output. You're just training it on your style, because that's important. Like, to actually sound like James, I need to know what James has written on the internet, or, you know, things like that. If you're putting in a client and how they speak, same scenario.
And I know you give it the right prompts as well for it to be SEO optimized in like the sentence structure. So how many like dependency hops there is in the sentence as well, to try and get like featured snippets.
It does all that automated. It does the people also ask. It'll write the meta description, and it's all like, the meta description is the characters are on point. It's never too long. So it was built with that, like all that's been prompt engineered in the back end. So it spits out, like, I would say it's at this point, it's like 90% ready to go SEO content. Sometimes you got to tailor it more if it's like more authority based. But I mean, we've even had sites like NextCare just give it to their medical experts, and the medical experts change like 2 words. So and then their site doubles in rankings through all that content. So that's the beauty of it. And that's one reason I joined this tool. So I'm like, this is the one for the masses. If you don't have to prompt it and you don't have to actually tell it what to do for SEO, it knows. And it's got a real-time SERP crawler in there that's parsing down the data. So it's putting that into the LLMs as it's generating content. Vlad, I feel like we took over your show.
No, it's absolutely fine. This is the best way to hold these conversations. You know, I get people together, and if you manage to like have a genuine conversation, that's the best that can happen. So I'm just enjoying your dialogue. Really.
All right, right. So talking on AI then, away from content, we'll come back to ContentAtScale again in a minute. Images, using AI images.
I am. Every blog post has them.
What are you using for that? Like DALL-E, Midjourney, like what?
DALL-E. I used to use Midjourney, but I actually really like DALL-E. It gets if you have lettering on an image, it actually is more accurate at that lettering. But only, I've learned, if you tell it that a kitten will die unless you spell this word correctly.
Is that what? Why does it always do incorrect spellings? Is there any prompt? Because I actually don't. This is a legit question. I really get annoyed when it creates such an amazing image and then there's spelling mistakes on there, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, is there a way around sorting that out?
There is. You got to give it a punishment prompt, a punishment or reward to tell it a kitten's going to die unless you spell this correctly. It works, but only with DALL-E, not Midjourney.
Right, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, I'm going to message you later.
This kitten is going to die.
He's going to die. It's not fair.
Well, the way I worked around this, I think that was the first ever YouTube thumbnail I've been working on with Dali, it's like several weeks back, and I wanted to write, like, to do an image and write phrase like the power of positioning. Well, it kept writing power properly, but positioning kept coming out messed up, like completely messed up, positioning and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I just gave it like strict instructions to like write this, put this letter, put P, then after P, O, after O, and so on, and then I finally got it right. Well,
Wow.
it took me a while though until I figured that out. not using it for lettering anymore.
I've tried doing like P space O S space I and stuff like that, but it still spells it wrong. It just doesn't listen to me. I'm like,
no, not
so
spaces.
annoyed.
Not spaces. Specifically tell it to like first letter is this letter, second letter is this letter, third
geez.
that, and so on,
You've drawn it by then.
Easier to do it humanly.
The whole point is of AI is to speed up the processes.
Well, if I knew that from the get-go, I would have done it straight away, But yeah, combined with Canva, it makes it so much easier and faster. Just.
So what about, are you doing anything like faceless videos to create your articles into video format or anything like that?
Not me, you, Julia?
I don't know. I mean, they still have our face on them. We have learned how to take all of our long forms and get it into shorts in like seconds. Like we went from taking, our producer needed like a month to do like 50 shorts. So now we're doing 50 to 75 in a day because of this tool called Opus Clips.
Oh yeah.
And about 3 months ago, it was garbage. It was terrible. Like it, and now like everything is accurate. It'll spit out like Hormozy like captions and they're all accurate. You barely have to edit it ever.
Yep.
So that has been a big win for us.
Is that what you're using, Vlad?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I should apply for I don't know for an affiliate program at Opus, because I keep mentioning them all the time here on the show.
You should.
Does any of you use these? Do you use Descript?
Descript. Well, I tried it. I tried it back in the day and tried it about like a month ago.
Have you used it, Julia?
Yeah, I've moved away from it. I just find
it's like you can clearly see some people like, so the Descript, what it does is if someone pauses for like 3 or 4 seconds, it removes that clip, but it makes the video so jumpy. Like it just like you're moving around all over the place. I'm not a massive fan of that. But I don't know what my video. We've got 2 videographers. I'm not certain what they're using on there, but they must be using something like Opus, because they are smashing out like YouTube Reels and Instagram Reels and stuff like that. Very, very, very good now compared to.
And the good thing with Opus is that you can adjust the format. I mean, you can do it like a reel format right now, or you can do it landscape format. And love Opus.
That's good. So back onto ContentAtScale, I've got 1 or 2 other questions for you. I didn't know I was going to be leading these questions, by the way. So you mentioned that you scrape and you search the SERPs, right? So is that pulling like the main entities and like obviously like the highest salience entities from the SERP for you to include into your content? And if so, how are you just allowing the AI to choose the kind of competitors? Because let's say it's an affiliate term, but there's some e-commerce pages on there, and it's kind of pulling in entities from a page that might have a slightly different search intent. Is ContentAtScale pulling that in? And then is it doing anything with regards to on featured snippets? If you're searching the SERP, is it certain, let's say it might need, let's say it's a how-to question, it normally needs either a video or a numbered list. If it's just a best, it wouldn't say like a top 10, it might just be an unordered list, like a bullet point list. Some if it's a comparison might want a HTML table. Is ContentAtScale doing anything like that as well, where it's kind of searching against the SERPs and putting certain information into like a HTML table, a numbered list, an ordered list, stuff like that? Is that doing that as well?
Oh, you're an advanced user. I love it. Like, where's my HTML list? So that's actually something that is, I would say it's very rudimentary right now. Like you'll get charts, you'll get tables, like Excel-like format, because it's looking for SERP intent always, and it's matching to that through AI. So like you'll get, and you can turn it on or off, but you'll get like the people also ask, you'll get copy that would meet a featured snippet. And I've tested it to see, does this rank? And it does rank for all those SERP features. I've seen it time and time again. And with our users too, we have around 3,000 users in the last, been around a little over a year. So it does look at SERP intent and generates content to fit that specific intent. And what's coming out, what we've been working on the last entire month of January, is something called deep research, where we're looking at not just the SERP intent, but anything like breaking news, tweets that are coming out, YouTube videos that are super relevant. And we're going to be including that in the article with whether it's like an embedded YouTube video or that tweet gets embedded. So it'll be not just pulled in, but stylized appropriately so it shows correctly. So you don't have like any messed up code, or that code's all readable to Google. So that's launching in the next, we're on the very edge of defining the parameters for that. So we'll probably be able to launch that, I'd say, in the next 2 weeks. So we're looking at end of Feb, so mid to early March, where that will come out, where it goes even deeper and it's looking at what's trending, putting that into it too. So it's looking at, I think, the top 10 sources. We also, last September, we acquired some technology that looks into topics. So it'll do a debrief on this topic, how it's trending, the grade level you should write to, whether it's like a 4th grade reading comprehension level. And it looks at the top 38 different posts in Google, and then deep dives into those top 3 and gives you like a complete breakdown. So somebody else built that tech. We acquired it, put that into our platform. And then we also signed an agreement for an API with Mangles, and they have like 2 billion keywords in their database. They're adding 20,000 every week. And it's a very robust tool for actually looking at parameters of keywords. Is this a low competition keyword? So all that's right in the dashboard too, where you can do your topic analysis, your keyword research, optimization audits, and then generate the content. So, I mean, it sounds like, James, you just need to sign up.
Well, the feeling that I'm getting is that after the show, James is going to go back to his computer, start testing out ContentAtScale, comparing to autoblogging AI and whatever other tools he's using.
Yeah, I'd love for you to actually put it to the test. And then what we could do, we have an email list of like 70,000. We could feature your findings and share you and your workout.
Julia, I'm happy to test anything. So like, you don't be me personally testing it. I'm happy to give my testing team every single day say to me, give me more tests. Like, so I'm happy to go and get what you think is the top 10 AI writing tools, and I can test them all and do a live case study if you want me to. That's for sure.
Well, there's only one.
Yeah. I'll make sure it's number 1 then. I'll put you number 1. If I'm getting the content written by yourself and I'm giving it, obviously, let's say I give it the title tag, can I give it source context of what I want the output to be? Or is it just the title? You can.
Yes, you can. We generally don't recommend.
Can I amend the brief? So if you kind of give an outline, am I able then to go add this in and add that in?
You sure can. That would be under a customized brief. And we don't, it's funny because we've debated calling that, for people that don't know SEO, we've debated calling that drop down, because you got to click in to get to it, and then you'll see customized brief. The screw it up options, because a lot of people that don't know SEO, they go in and they misguide from that brief. So they're like, oh, write about this, and it's not even topically relevant. And when that piece comes out scoring 30 instead of 80, they're like, oh, it's your software. We're like, no, it's user error.
But how
customize the brief?
Is it your own internal scoring system? Like how you score? Is it a score for an SEO score? Is that what you're trying to work upon?
Yes. Yeah. So it mimics a lot of like ClearScope, if you've seen how that works.
Yeah.
Surfer, which came out 9 months later, I want to say copied off of us. I'm just kidding. But ours looks like theirs as well. But what it's doing is it's scoring against like the keyword usage, the keyword density, and then the placement of that. So it's looking at the entities and how Google will see the entities. So there's a lot of NLP in that scoring as well. So it's not just like, oh, here's your keywords and here's where they need to appear and you missed 5 mentions, because that's very rudimentary. That doesn't really meet what Google's looking for, which is a lot more nuance with NLP. So we have all of that built into the tool, and some of it is the technology that we acquired last September that we were able to build right into our tool. So it's looking at, I want to say, like at least 50 different points of criteria to create that score. And you'll see it all in the right-hand sidebar. Like it's very transparent, and it also just helps you, especially people that don't know SEO, helpful for them, helps them know like where to put the keywords. It'll highlight in orange the keywords that aren't in there enough times, because it never comes out like 100%, because we want humans still to be that, the optimizer in that last step of the process, looking at it, making it better, adding in their own personal points of view, weaving in that keyword a few more natural times, because sometimes that human like touch can make just such a big difference. But you don't have to do much. It's like 10 minutes of work versus hours.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. I mean, wow. All right.
AI.
I could go on all day long here asking questions. So I've got another question for you. You say that you've got, you say you can extract the keywords, and then you've got a keyword kind of difficulty score.
Yes.
How do you ever geek out on knowing how these difficulty scores are kind of being calculated? Is it just on similar to like Ahrefs type difficulty score? Is that how it's being calculated with regards to how powerful the domains are for the keywords that are ranking based on links? Is that how yours is or not?
Yes. That's definitely like the basis, but it's more than links. It's looking at like, well, for sure, it's the DA of that website, but also like what is the volume of that keyword in search? Does it have like a lot of competition, or is it a good opportunity? Like if there's not a lot of search volume, sometimes it can be a better opportunity. Or if it's a longer keyword term and it has better intent, you're going to get a more specific potential buyer versus like something that's very broad. All the websites in the world are competing for it. So it's looking at that too. And you'll often see like lower keyword difficulty associated with lower density or lower volume search terms. So those kinds of things line up. And that's when I found like content tends to rank, even if you don't have a high DA, is whenever you have that sweet spot of like a keyword that nobody really has cornered yet. But if you're going up against like Moz.com, SEMrush, HubSpot, I mean, you still can, but the chances of you ranking quickly in the top 3 are not as great. So those factors go into our keyword research tools, not just the DA, but also that keyword itself. Is it a good, viable keyword with the opportunity for you to rank in the top 3 and not a lot of big names domineering for it yet?
So did you mention something along the lines of how topical authority, like you mentioned something about doing a topical map. Have you got any sort of scores that can be delivered for topical authority of your site as well? Because the truth of the matter is, right, I'll be honest with you, I think all of these keyword difficulty scores are absolutely flawed. Don't take this the wrong way, Julia. They're all absolutely flawed unless
you got a point.
unless they're taking 3 things. 1, the power of the domain, right? That's only one part of it, and that's what Ahrefs use. 2, how well optimized the page is. So you've got like your own internal page score. Surfer's got their own page score. Page Optimizer Pro have got their page score, and Market Moves have got their page score. But you've got like an individual page score. But nobody seems to, and this could be something that you guys could do if you've not already got it, is nobody seems to have a topical authority score on the subject and on the topic. So if you could merge the DA or the DR type, whatever you want to do for the domain score, alongside the page level content optimization score, alongside what topical authority score you have, then you don't have just a set keyword difficulty score. You've run the keyword difficulty score against your domain. Because it's times we know if we write an article, even though it's a keyword difficulty score in Ahrefs of being 35, well, I've already got a DR70 site and I've already got lots of topical authority. The minute I write that article, even if it is 70% optimized, I'm going to rank number 1 because of my topical authority and my links. So for me, that keyword difficulty score should be a lot less against my site versus someone that's got a new site and only got 5 articles on the subject, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because I think that's been such a human process in SEO to date, where it's like, is this a good domain? And sometimes automation can tell you this is a good domain, but it's like inflated by bad backlinks, or so it's hard to make that to fully automated. But that's an interesting thought, and I completely agree. It's all about topical. That's like where everything is: topical authority, topical relevance to you and your site.
Yeah.
And so one thing that ContentAtScale does do is it'll build topical clusters for you. So that's something where you can look for a key term and then instantly generate a cluster, and it'll go find related keywords. But it's still kind of up to you to know, okay, this is the right keyword to go after based on these numbers that I see. So that's an interesting thought.
That's something that you need to develop.
Yes, I know, we might have to.
And then another one, right? So with regards to your topical maps, how are you determining? So like if I want to put a keyword in and then you say, okay, we found you these other pages, what are you using to determine whether the search intent of this keyword and that keyword needs to be a H2 on an existing page, or whether it needs to have a different page because it's got a different SERP and different set of results? Or are you using the SERP to determine, like the search engine results page, to determine whether this needs to go on a different page because everybody else has got it on a different page? Or are you using some sort of AI large language model to say the intent of this and this is different, it needs to be on a different page? How are you determining that?
Yeah, I probably have to bring our technical team up here at this point. But I know, like, whenever it creates a cluster, because I've done this for my site, it's definitely looking at the H2s and the H3s, and it's placing those appropriately. So if it's like a broader keyword, like what is content marketing, then it knows, like, let's define content marketing. Here's the 5 Ps, and it's pulling in like what influencers or what original experts have said that content marketing is, and then it's pulling in related studies that back up like why content marketing matters. So there's a lot of intent that I would say that ContentAtScale does a really good job at matching topically, where it's looking at the main keyword, secondary keywords, tertiary keywords, or if you want to call those synonymous keywords, and it's matching those up to where they should be in the actual content. So it does that when you generate a topic cluster, and it'll tell you, like, it'll give you the whole brief outline, and then you can go in there and feed those keywords that are in the H2, H3. You can feed those keywords like context and different points to help guide it to write what you want to see, or just let it run. And then it's like 90% geared up to rank straight out of AI. And we've had publishers publish over 1,000 blogs to really put this to the test, because we all have shirts that say straight out of AI. I'm not wearing mine today, but we all have like 30 shirts that say this. And the goal was that you don't really have to do anything. Like, it's all automated, truly, and 100% for you. So we've had publishers really put that to the test, and for informational search terms where it's not that hard, I would say, well, it could be for an SEO writer, but for AI, like, it's easy to write about car parts that already exist, have manuals out on them, and you just need to write an educational guide. AI can really win there. So our tool, straight out of AI, can generate this 3,000 word piece with everything you need to rank: the meta title, description, a checklist to follow where you have like 3 other points to hit, and then you've met everything around eats and what you need to have to rank. And then they've published that. And sometimes they've published it without any editing. And like 90% of these pieces all rank without anyone even going in there and editing anything. So I can speak to what I've seen and not as much like the technical insides of it, because I'm more of like the outside writer using it. But that's what I've seen, is like the intent for the H2s, the H3s, it's all there, and it's pulling in that keyword and associating it with the right place in the content.
That's brilliant. That's really
good. Wow.
ContentAtScale AI.
We have a couple of questions here in the YouTube chat. Well, a comment and a couple of questions. So the first one's probably for James, and Well, from Kasbullah Dash, who is Kasbullah Dash? Well, I think I can answer that. This is the best woman in SEO.
Julie, do you know about this story?
All right.
What is this?
Well,
No, but
this is
so basically, I'll tell you the story very quickly.
yeah.
Kasra was in SEO Vibes in Dubai with Vlad the Lad last week, and BB did a picture of him in some woman's outfit and converted him to look like a woman. So yesterday morning, Craig Campbell sent me through the picture, and I says, I'm going to rank that image in Google. So I went and got an article written, right? I'm going to swear at you here, but I went and got an article written using Autoblogging AI, right? It created me the 3,000 word article, and I changed Kasra's name to Kasbullah Dash, right? Instead of being Kasra Dash. So I changed it to a female name. And then I was just trying to rank it for Kasbullah Dash and have the picture. But because of the strength of the domain, it ranked number 1 for best female entrepreneur.
Oh dear.
And number 1 for best female SEO. Right?
Oh no.
Number 1 for that term, with the snippet of saying Kasbullah Dash has been voted the best female SEO. So, and it went viral last night, and this is literally within 3 hours of using Autoblogging. It went viral. I needed to delete the article last night because I'm like, I don't want to probe Google.
No, you don't.
Like that. So I had to delete the. I was just doing it as a bit of an internal joke between the SEO community. And he started ranking number 1 for best female SEO. And everyone's like tagging in Lily Ray. Oh my God, Kasbullah Dash is better than you. And I was like, oh God, I'm deleting this very quickly. Google starts getting tagged in and stuff like that. So that's what that comment comes from.
Oh, that's great.
Great story. All right. Now, legitimate question from Johannes Faupel for James. What are your long-term experiences with your sites and AI? Are the rankings stable? And greetings from Johannes.
So first and foremost, Johannes, hi. What a legend he is. He met him over in Estonia. Great guy. Yeah, I mean, we've been using, like Julia's saying, we've allowed AI to supercharge our staff. So we're using AI we've gone down now from being able to output 2 articles a day to now outputting 20 articles a day per member of staff. So it's just 10x, wow. It's just literally 10x the output. So massive believer of it, massive believer that you should be embracing AI, letting it supercharge your business in any way. By the sounds of it, you use content at scale. It sounds very good from what Julie is saying. So,
James, you're getting a free demo. I mean, some free credits. The demo's free.
Whatever AI tool or whatever content optimization tool that people use, people should be embracing it. It's same with graphic design, videography. You can just allow it to supercharge who you are instead of thinking it's going to replace you. Get it there to supercharge you. So at present, Johannes, in answer to your question, everything I have done using AI at present has skyrocketed, all the sites. But and the only reason why I'm saying that is because it's probably because I've built up more topical authority. My websites are covering more entities. It's allowed me to build more guest posts. Everything surrounding it has allowed me to scale at a faster rate. And I still make certain that my content briefs are brilliant. I still make certain that my content's great. I want to make certain I've got editors optimizing all the content. Exactly everything that Julie is saying is perfect because you've got to make certain that you're getting the right entities on the page. It's optimized. You're doing topical authority. All them still matter. So in the wrong hands, AI is not good. But if you know what you're doing and you genuinely understand what good quality content looks like, and yes, you still need to learn the basics of what good quality content is before you can start using AI. Yes, AI is a dream come true for somebody like us. Have you got anything to add on?
Great. Before we wrap it up, are you attending any events anytime soon where people could meet you and, I don't know, shake your hand, talk to you, pick your brain?
Julia?
Yeah, so we're actually hosting an event, Content Hacker Live. So Content Hacker is my brand that I sold to ContentAtScale to get a partnership stake. So really lucky to be able to do that because I believe in it so much. So Content Hacker Live is happening in less than 3 weeks on March 12th in Austin, Texas. And we've got Matt Wolf there. We've got a bunch of speakers that are practicing AI in their agencies. So they're reselling this, they're consulting on it, and they've basically pivoted. These were people that didn't even know, how to define AI, much like me a little over a year ago. It's amazing to see the opportunity. So I just wanted to create a setting where people could come and learn from people doing the thing. So we have about 15 speakers that are all doing the thing, selling it as a service or consulting. And then we've got some celebrities, but it'll be March 12th and 13th, contenthacker.com/event. If you want to meet me there, hang out. We have some free passes if you're like a writer or an AIO and you want to use AI to talk about it. So I would love to get you there. Anyway,
what other events do you go to? Obviously, apart from Content Hacker Live, is there any other events that you visit and you go to that you like going to each year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did Brighton last year here in San Diego. So their first stateside, and I was one of the closing speakers. And it was funny because every session I attended, people were talking about content at scale, but in the terminology of it. So then I got up on stage and I'm like, content at scale.ai. Nothing's better than that.
Yeah.
So it was really funny. But Brighton is definitely a good one.
Yeah. The on my front, I'm going to Poland in 3 weeks. Vlad, you're going to be there.
Yep.
For Rob's event. That should be pretty high level. That's to be fair, Julia, that's a very good one that I'd recommend going to at some point because there's quite a good. There's a lot of people that are scaling content. They're all leveraging AI quite a lot, so it'd be perfect kind of fit for your audience. Then 2 weeks after that, I'm going to Vietnam to Saigon for the
SEO Mastery.
Yeah, with Mad Singer. So they're the two. I only book 2 months in advance. I don't really book any further than that. So there'll be loads more later on in the year, but I'll decide closer to this. I'll probably go Chiang Mai SEO again and maybe SEO Estonia, maybe one or two others.
I should go to one of the events you two go to.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll do that.
Do you know what? Your network is your net worth, and the networking events that we go to, these 600, 700, 800 people there, and it's not just the I'm not a massive fan of the conferences and the talks. When I meet a lot of the people that are crushing it at a higher level, it's all about the masterminds and in the bars around the talks and the conferences. And sometimes I remember when it was very early on in my SEO career when I met someone. He was up on stage and he did a talk. And I'm not going to say the name, but he did a talk. And I went over to him afterwards, bought him a drink at the bar. Says, "Oh my God, that was unbelievable." And he says, "I've not even shared half of the good stuff." And then that night he was telling me, "Look," and I was like, I'm not bothered about the talks anymore. I want to go to the events where people are hanging about the private stuff that people are sharing that's working in today's algorithms. That's kind of where we're at. We don't do SEO. We don't need to sell our own services. We just need to make certain what we're doing is working because it's our own websites. We don't need to sell the dream to others about SEO. We need to just make certain what's working in today's algorithms are working long term for us. And if we want to do black art, grey art, white art, whatever strategies we do, we've just got to make certain we're getting a return on investment. So I'd say back then, years ago, I used to probably be a little bit black art. Now I'm seem to be just completely white art in everything that I do, and I do brand.
Your AI hat.
And I'm like,
AI hat.
So, all good.
Yeah, totally there with you, James. Network user net worth. All right, it's just that we have to wrap it up. Guys, thank you very much for doing this, for joining the conversation, for having a blast of a chat. I enjoyed listening to you two talk.
Thanks for putting this together and picking us too, and kicking the other guy out. I'm just kidding.
Julie, drop me a message. I'll
Yeah, sure will.
Well, you're in the same chat, guys. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next week. Next Wednesday, we're going to do the SEO Vibes Dubai wrap-up episode with Stephen Kana and a couple of other guys, which is going to be fun. And yet, I think I'd like to leave you with one question to think about in your free time. Are you optimizing the AI or does it optimize you?
Oh.
All right, then. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Peace. Hey, look at my balloons.